In this episode, we focus on a coordination problem that can quietly drain budgets and slow delivery, even when every team is trying to do the right thing. Technology resources are managed in one lane, while enterprise resources are governed in another. Beginners often assume that IT resource management is simply an internal technology task, like managing hardware, software, staffing, and budgets, but enterprises manage resources across many domains, including finance, human resources, facilities, procurement, and strategic planning. If IT manages its resources without aligning to how the enterprise governs resources overall, the result is predictable friction, priorities conflict, funding decisions feel inconsistent, procurement timelines surprise teams, and capabilities drift because planning assumptions do not match operational reality. Aligning IT resource management with enterprise resource governance means IT decisions are made within the same planning logic leaders use for the rest of the organization, including the same cadence, the same constraints, and the same accountability expectations. This alignment strengthens governance because it makes IT spending and capacity decisions easier to justify, easier to coordinate, and more directly tied to business outcomes leaders recognize. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is a companion to our course companion books. The first book is about the exam and provides detailed information on how to pass it best. The second book is a Kindle-only ebook that contains 1,000 flashcards that can be used on your mobile device or Kindle. Check them both out at cyber.author.me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. A helpful starting point is understanding what enterprise resource governance actually means, because it is broader than budget approval. Enterprise resource governance is the system by which leaders decide how money, people, time, and assets are allocated to achieve strategic goals while managing risk and constraints. It includes planning cycles, portfolio decisions, risk appetite decisions, and trade-offs between competing needs, such as growth versus stability or innovation versus compliance. When IT operates outside this system, it may optimize locally, such as buying tools quickly or hiring for immediate needs, but it can create enterprise-level problems like duplicated spend, misaligned priorities, or staffing models that do not fit organizational standards. Beginners sometimes think IT is special and therefore must operate differently. But while technology has unique complexity, it is still funded and staffed by the same enterprise that funds and staffs every other function. Aligning IT resource management means using enterprise governance mechanisms, not bypassing them, while still ensuring technology realities are visible in decisions. This is not about limiting IT. It is about making IT part of the enterprise's coordinated resource system. When alignment is strong, the enterprise can steer more confidently because IT decisions support the broader plan rather than competing with it. A major reason alignment matters is that IT resources often underpin many business capabilities, and those capabilities cross organizational boundaries. A customer service team might rely on systems managed by IT, a finance team might rely on enterprise reporting platforms, and operations might rely on availability and incident response processes. If IT resource planning is disconnected, enterprise planning can approve new initiatives that assume capacity and capability improvements that are not actually feasible. This leads to overcommitment, missed deadlines, and reactive funding requests that feel like surprises. Aligning resource management means that when the enterprise plans, IT provides a clear view of constraints, dependencies, and capacity realities, and leaders incorporate those realities into commitments. Beginners might assume the enterprise plan is the truth and IT must comply, but mature governance treats planning as a conversation where IT is a key input provider. That input includes not just how much work IT can do, but which capabilities are weak and must be strengthened to support strategy. When these realities are integrated, the enterprise makes fewer unrealistic promises and delivery becomes steadier. Financial alignment is one of the most visible aspects because enterprises use structured budgeting and investment planning to allocate funds, and IT must fit into that structure. If IT spending is managed as isolated purchases or emergency funding requests, leaders struggle to understand the value and risk of the spend. Aligning IT resource management with enterprise planning means presenting technology investments in terms of outcomes, such as improved reliability, reduced risk, or enabled growth, and connecting those outcomes to the enterprise's strategic priorities. It also means accounting for TCO, including ongoing operating costs, renewal costs, and lifecycle replacement costs, because enterprise financial governance values predictability. Beginners often assume budgets are only about cost control, but budgets are also about planning and accountability because they set expectations and enable prioritization. When IT aligns spending plans to enterprise budgeting cycles and communicates lifecycle needs early, leaders can allocate funds proactively rather than reacting under pressure. This reduces the common pattern where critical upgrades are delayed until a crisis forces expensive emergency action. Financial alignment is therefore a reliability control as much as it is a budgeting practice. Capacity alignment is equally important because enterprise planning frequently increases demand for IT delivery, and demand must be matched to capacity in a realistic way. Enterprise leaders may plan multiple initiatives that require integration work, security review, data migration, or platform expansion, and those tasks often depend on the same constrained teams. If IT does not align its capacity planning with enterprise planning, leaders may approve a portfolio that exceeds what can be delivered safely. Alignment means IT provides a capacity view that includes operational obligations, incident response burden, skill bottlenecks, and change capacity limits, and enterprise planning uses that view to set sequencing and scope. Beginners might think capacity is something IT should solve internally by working harder, but governance recognizes that sustained overload reduces quality and increases incidents, which then reduces capacity further. Aligning capacity planning across the enterprise helps leaders understand trade-offs, such as delaying lower priority work to protect reliability or investing in capability improvements that increase future capacity. It also helps synchronize staffing decisions, such as hiring plans and sourcing decisions, with enterprise workforce planning. When capacity alignment is mature, the organization avoids chronic overcommitment and can respond to changes without collapsing. Procurement alignment is another practical area because procurement is often governed centrally, with rules, approvals, and timelines designed to protect the enterprise. If IT tries to bypass procurement governance, it can create risk through uncontrolled vendor relationships and inconsistent contract terms. If procurement governance ignores IT needs, it can slow delivery and encourage shadow purchasing. Aligning IT resource management with enterprise procurement means IT participates early in procurement planning, defines requirements clearly, and ensures governance controls like security expectations, data handling terms, and exit planning are built into contracts. It also means procurement processes understand IT's operational realities, such as urgency during incident response or the need to renew support before end-of-life deadlines. Beginners can think of procurement alignment as ensuring the right controls are built into the supply chain, not just the purchase price. When alignment is strong, procurement becomes an enabler of controlled speed because standard contract patterns and clear risk assessments reduce negotiation time. This supports both optimization and control by reducing vendor sprawl and ensuring consistent oversight across sourced resources. Workforce and skills alignment also matters because enterprise resource governance includes human capital planning, and IT capabilities depend on the right skills being available. If IT develops skills in an ad hoc way, it can create gaps where critical capabilities rely on a few individuals, increasing key person risk. Aligning IT resource management with enterprise workforce planning means IT skill needs are visible in hiring strategies, competency development plans, and sourcing decisions. It also means that training investments are linked to business outcomes, so leaders can see why certain skills matter for reliability, security, and delivery speed. Beginners might assume skills are the responsibility of individuals, but in governance, skills are enterprise assets because they determine what the organization can execute. Alignment helps ensure that job roles, career paths, and retention strategies support the capabilities the enterprise needs. It also helps ensure that contractors and external services are used strategically, filling gaps while internal capability is developed. When workforce planning is aligned, IT becomes more resilient because skills are distributed and coverage is planned rather than accidental. Asset lifecycle alignment is another critical area because enterprises often manage physical and financial assets under consistent governance expectations, and IT resources should be managed with similar discipline. If IT assets like software subscriptions, platforms, and infrastructure components are not tracked and reviewed like other enterprise assets, waste grows and risk increases. Aligning IT lifecycle management with enterprise asset governance means using consistent inventory, ownership, renewal review, and retirement practices so leaders can see what is owned, what is used, and what is obsolete. It also means incorporating IT lifecycle needs into enterprise planning so replacements and upgrades are funded and scheduled before end of life creates crisis risk. Beginners often assume technology upgrades are optional enhancements, but in governance, upgrades are often necessary to maintain supportability and security. Alignment reduces the temptation to defer lifecycle work because lifecycle commitments become visible in the enterprise plan. It also supports optimization because consolidation and standardization decisions can be coordinated across departments rather than made in isolation. When asset lifecycle alignment is mature, the enterprise environment becomes simpler and more reliable over time. Another aspect is aligning decision-making cadence, because enterprise resource governance often follows predictable cycles, and IT needs a compatible rhythm to avoid surprise. If enterprise budgeting is annual and quarterly, IT should align its major investment proposals and capacity updates to those cycles, while still having mechanisms to address urgent needs. This does not mean IT cannot respond quickly. It means IT uses structured points to refresh leaders on risk, lifecycle timelines, and capacity constraints. Beginners sometimes think cadence is bureaucracy, but cadence creates predictability and reduces conflict because stakeholders know when trade-offs will be discussed. Alignment also improves transparency because leaders see technology constraints early rather than learning about them when deadlines are already missed. A shared cadence helps reduce the pattern where IT feels like it is constantly asking for exceptions and leaders feel like IT is constantly surprising them. When cadence is aligned, planning becomes more cooperative because it is built on shared timing and shared expectations. This supports governance because governance is fundamentally about coordinated decision-making. Measurement and reporting alignment are also necessary because leaders need consistent views of performance and value across the enterprise. If IT reports in purely technical terms while enterprise governance reports in business outcome terms, decisions become harder and misunderstandings increase. Aligning reporting means connecting IT resource performance to enterprise outcomes, such as service availability affecting customer experience, security posture affecting trust and compliance, and delivery throughput affecting strategic execution. It also means using consistent indicators that leaders can compare across domains, such as risk trends, capacity utilization, and value delivery progress. Beginners can think of this as using the same scoreboard across teams so leadership can make fair trade-offs. When reporting is aligned, leaders can see why certain IT investments are necessary and can evaluate whether they are working. Reporting alignment also supports accountability because it makes it clear whether resource management is improving the enterprise's capabilities. When measures are clear, it becomes easier to prioritize and to justify lifecycle work that might not look exciting but prevents failures. Finally, aligning IT resource management with enterprise governance requires cultural alignment, because without shared understanding, processes are followed mechanically or bypassed entirely. IT teams need to understand why enterprise governance exists and how to work within it effectively, while enterprise leaders need to understand that technology constraints and dependencies are real and must shape plans. This mutual understanding is often built through consistent communication and through governance processes that are designed to be practical rather than abstract. Beginners should recognize that alignment is not achieved by forcing compliance, but by designing processes that help both sides achieve shared outcomes. When alignment is strong, IT feels like a strategic partner because its resource decisions are part of enterprise planning, and leaders feel confident because technology commitments are realistic and tracked. This reduces conflict, reduces waste, and improves reliability because technology is managed as an enterprise resource rather than as a separate world. Over time, alignment becomes self-reinforcing because decision-making becomes smoother and results become more predictable. As we close, aligning IT resource management with enterprise resource governance and planning means embedding technology resource decisions into the same mechanisms the enterprise uses to allocate money, people, and attention across all priorities. Financial planning becomes more predictable when IT investments are described in outcome terms and include lifecycle costs rather than surprise requests. Capacity planning becomes more realistic when demand and constraints are shared across planning cycles, preventing chronic overcommitment and protecting reliability. Procurement and vendor management become more controlled when IT acquisition follows enterprise governance, while still reflecting technology realities like security requirements and support timelines. Workforce planning becomes stronger when competency needs are linked to business outcomes and managed as enterprise capability, not individual preference. For brand new learners, the key takeaway is that governance works best when IT is not managed as an isolated department, but as a core enterprise resource system that must be planned, optimized, and controlled alongside everything else. When alignment is achieved, the enterprise spends more wisely, delivers more reliably, and adapts more confidently because technology resources are governed as part of the enterprise's coordinated plan.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit DailyCyber.News.